Thomas, Jay Foreman, Amon Green, Adam Carricker, Chancellor Brewington, Derek Pearson, Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Nick Sainer will be in Indy for our shows Tuesday through Thursday. Getting the latest news from Nebraska and everyone else around the conference. Coverage of Big Ten Media Days is brought to you by 1890 Nebraska, Stevens and Smith Construction, The Complex, Warhorse Casino, and Riddles Jewelry.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer. Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome into the LIBA Business Hour, sponsored by Nats to Tasseling, highlighting local independent businesses in and around Lincoln on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, LIBA Executive Director Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish.
Boy, it's amazing how quick your weeks go when it's like, oh my gosh, we got to prep for this show again. It's Saturday. It's like, boy, they just tick off faster and faster and faster. You're listening to the LIBA Business Hour. It's another Saturday morning. With me, as always, is Gary Tharnish, Home Design Real Estate. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I had a good week. How about you?
It was a busy week. It was a busy week.
There's a lot going on.
Yes.
Awful lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Locally, nationally, there is a ton going on. This week, we decided to kind of push back our guest a week so we can talk about, well, property taxes, obviously, just some things going on locally that are going to be affecting business. And, of course, we'll probably touch on what's happened nationally and the direction that the world seems to be going in such a strange place.
So true. The downtown corridor plan, I think that's something to talk about. That's going to be a major amount of spending on a want, on a need, not necessarily a need, which I think is a little bit off the charts for me with everything else going on in the city and the roads and things like that. So that'd be something interesting to talk about also. Yep. And tearing apart this property tax plan that the governor's coming out with. That's going to be a big thing this next week. Starts on Wednesday, I believe.
Yep.
Listened to Senator Slama talk the other day on the radio and her views on that tax plan and what it might or might not look like. I thought was pretty interesting.
Okay.
She's talking about the special session, saying one of her fears and what she doesn't want to happen is that they get some sort of a plan for having a sake of a plan so they weren't all failures. And that if it isn't the right plan, it's just another little push on a problem that's not going to really solve anything. Now, she's huge on the spending side of it. And I was just reading through some notes that you had about the tax plan and what your thoughts were, which I think are great. I would love to delve into that. But one thing I take away when I just read everything that you wrote about it and others that have talked about it is the issue really, at the end of the day, is spending.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we don't have a tax problem. We have a spending problem. And our taxes are a symptom of the problem. So we have to solve the problem.
Right. Correct. You know, and it's common sense. At the end of the day, it really is injecting common sense into the spending all the way around with tax dollars. And we don't get that. In business, those of us that have a business and are running a business, if there's a problem, you don't usually fix it by throw more and more money at it because it's the true definition of insanity, right? I have a problem. Instead of analyzing it and finding out what the solution is, I'm just going to keep throwing a ton of money at it and hope it goes away and keep doing the same thing or making little adjustments. We see that I feel like we see that a lot with spending in schools.
Well, and we've seen it for decades. I mean, there's so many
Mhm.
times. Think of the war on poverty, which came out in the 50s, 60s, and how many billions, trillions of dollars we've spent on the war on poverty. There's more people living in poverty now than any time in our country's history. So throwing money at the problem is just employing more people to try and solve a problem who aren't really trying to solve a problem. They're trying to prolong it. And it's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, if you look at LIBA, for example, it's a bunch of business owners that come together. And what unifies us is the fact that we're entrepreneurs who have laid everything on the line, personally, along with your business, that are trying to have a successful business in town to help people with their needs and whatever your business might be. And we can get together and we can gather and we can talk and we can share ideas and so on and so forth. And I feel sometimes in government, you look at all the different agencies and stuff, and even within the agencies now, as big as it's gotten, not only locally but nationally, the talking with each other to solve problems doesn't really happen.
Right.
It's like this is my little nest egg, and I don't want to give it up for anything, and I don't want to lose funding, and I don't want to, whatever. And I think those are cause challenges. I did like what the governor had to say about common sense, because we need to have that back in government. The challenge is, this is just my personal feeling, I'm not so sure, he's really chatting with or unifying all the senators to get them on the same page. That's the challenge I see
Yeah.
moving into this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when we were talking to him last week, he said that he's got the votes. So I hope that's true.
Yeah.
But you have to get out there and you have to talk and you have to, and it's more than just convincing somebody to vote for your tax cuts. It's convincing them this is the first, and I hope this is the first step in the plan as opposed to our destination. Convince them we need to find places to cut because businesses are hurting. Uh, Regular folks are hurting.
Oh yeah.
Our taxes are just out of control, and we are not getting good value for the tax money that we are spending. And so it hurts society. It hurts businesses. It hurts everybody.
Yeah.
We've got to solve this.
It's kind of funny how our country, in a way, not a way, but was founded on, we're not going to put up with all these taxes anymore, England, and we're going to separate ourselves from you because it's a nightmare. And now we've gotten back to having this problem before. What was interesting when the King of England was taxing the colonies is that, it was big lump sum things, like you knew and you felt it right away. In America, somehow we've gotten to a point where tax is so incremental in so many places in all these little amounts, and then it just really adds up at the end of the day. So we're talking about property taxes and how high those are and how challenging that is for business, for individuals. But you don't stop and think about almost everything you do every day. You're paying taxes for from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed.
You betcha.
Whether it's sales tax or a permit fee or what, all these needs you have throughout the day. Taxes are also passed on. So, I love the phrase when I'll hear friends that I was talking with last night. As a matter of fact, I had an independent, two really strong liberals, and a Republican sitting on my porch, and we were chatting about issues.
Oh, that's an interesting.
And what I loved about it is at the end of the night, we're all really great friends, and we really didn't agree on a lot of things, but we were open-minded to have a positive, good discourse. And one thing that we all had in common, the common denominator of that discussion, is that we're all having to buy groceries. We're all having to pay our utilities. We're all having to pay property tax. The problem is right in front of us, big and huge. You can't miss it. It's getting to a solution that'll be the challenge.
Yeah, and when you look at taxes as a whole, especially on businesses, most people don't have any clue how much money businesses spend in taxes. Whatever employees pay for their income tax, businesses have to match it. We get taxed. We pay taxes 6 times a year. You got your quarterlies, you're paying taxes, you got your annual, and then you have your personal. And so businesses are getting tax. That is part of why you're seeing inflation go up, because all the taxes that are coming onto the business owner. And a lot of people have said, oh, they label you as you're just a fat cat, greedy business owner that's raising prices to make more money. No, a lot of times we have to raise prices and we're making less money than we were a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and I know, we talk about business all the time here. And one thing about it that I would want to mention is that we have all sorts of different sizes of business, right? So it's much more challenging when you're a business. I feel anyway, it's a different type of challenge is how I would word it. When you have 5 employees, right? You and 4 employees. That's a different challenge than a corporation that has 4,000 employees, 7,500 employees. There's different conversations you have when you're looking at that in taxation and everything. But at the end of the day, we've become a society where taxes are very small and incremental in most ways. And I've always said, if I could wave a magic wand and be president, uh, I know that sounds scary, but I would say, and I think people would hate it, but I go, you know what? Everybody's going to write 3 checks once a month. One's to the IRS, one to your state, and one to your local government entity. And it's going to include everything, your FICA, your Medicaid, all the taxes that are taken out of your paycheck. Boss can keep track of it and say, here, at the end of the month, that add this to your tax bill.
Right.
And everybody had to write a check. We wouldn't have only 25% of the population that voted.
No, you're absolutely right, because people will feel that immediate pain.
Mhm.
I mean, when the rent goes up, you go, oh my gosh, that's another $25. Well, when you're writing a check for 300 or 1,000 or whatever it is, you go, wait a minute. They haven't fixed that damn pothole out in front for 2 years.
Right.
What am I writing
Exactly.
this check for?
Exactly. My favorite analogy is the things like let's try to fix it when there's a big problem, right? A lot of times it's approached at, well, how can we make that feel better for people? And legislating by the but when you legislate based on people's feelings, you're never going to win, because our feelings change all the time. I mean, I didn't even want to get out of bed this morning. Yesterday, I jumped out of bed. I felt one way one day the other day, one way the other day. But we need to get a point where when we are deciding how we're going to do things and fix things in government, it's common sense approach that says, we can make people feel better if we just fill these chuck holes over and over and over again. They're still there, but they're not really bad, as opposed to saying, let's fix this problem. Let's
Right.
get rid of that section of road, put in the proper cement, get it done right. It's little things like that that add up in government to so much wasteful spending.
Yeah, we have these, like you brought up the downtown corridors project. You have these, it's a feel good project. You're trying to beautify an area that is built to move traffic. It is built for business. That doesn't mean I want an ugly downtown, but I don't need shade trees and benches without armrests so that, the homeless can sleep on it. And we don't need to beautify our alleys, which is part of the plan, by the way. We don't need that stuff. We need government to fix what needs fixed and get out of our way. That's what this country is about, getting the government to handle what we can't handle on our own. Great example. We talked to Pastor Tom the other week. We are handling our homeless problem on our own. We don't need government input. Well, I say we, like I'm actually doing anything. Tom's doing something about it, though. And so we don't need government to get in the way and solve all of our problems. We need them to solve the problems that we can't solve on our own. For example, I'm looking out the window and I see 3 potholes right now. I can't solve that problem. Don't have the truck, don't have the kettle, don't have the experience to fill in a pothole. That's what we pay our taxes for. As far as planting a tree, we can do that in our own yards. I don't need government to handle planting a tree for me, or picking up trash on the sidewalk. Well, okay, don't litter, people. And if you see something, just grab it.
I think there's more you could do for those potholes than you're really putting out there. I'll get you a whistle and a needle vest, and you could just redirect traffic because I'll fill the hole. There we go.
Give me the old airline.
Citizen participation 101. Well, the other thing is, beautifying downtown. I mean, I could get on board for some of this. It just kind of depends. But if I was in charge, I would do 2 things right off the bat. One is I would deal with the homeless population. We're always going to have homeless among us. It's sad. Sometimes it's a choice. Sometimes it's a tragedy. But the homeless that are hanging out downtown are not the displaced single mother because, crappy husband just took off and left her be or whatever. A lot of it is, mental health issues, so on and so forth. But like Pastor Tom said, we need to be asking the people, move on, get going. You can't camp here. You can't do this. You talk about the alleys. We went to play trivia at Barrymore's a couple weeks ago and parked in the garage right there above the cigar bar there, Jake's, that parking garage. and get down to the bottom floor on the stairway, and someone had defecated there and urinated
Nice.
there. Got in the elevator after we were leaving. That elevator just reeks of urine. Get into the alley, and as we approach our turn into Barrymore's, there's a homeless guy sitting in there just taking a piss right in front of everybody. These are things that are unacceptable. That behavior is unacceptable. Whatever happened? Do we have beat cops downtown?
I haven't seen any. Ben's always downtown. Do you see beat cops walking
really
around?
don't.
No,
That might be a really good idea.
Not really, I don't think.
Yeah, get a beat cop out doing policing. I'm not saying, I'm compassionate. I'm not saying, kick them or what, but get them moving, get them into help. I'd be all for, expanding spending on some mental help to get these people help and out of downtown. Right now, I kind of look like you're going to beautify it to put in beds.
Yeah.
What is it going to look like? I love the idea of the little canopy area. We can have outside serving of restaurants. That's kind of cool. But before all of that should happen, I would deal with the homeless issue as far as move on. Poor behavior is not acceptable, period. Whether you're homeless or you're a millionaire, you cannot urinate on a
Right.
like anything.
Yeah.
So that'd be one of the first things. Second thing is I'd close O Street. I'd close 2 lanes of O Street, chop up every darn piece of cement from 9th Street to 21st, and replace that street like they do on the interstate with 12-inch deep cement, rebar everywhere, and built a road that's going to last 20 years. And then do the other 2 lanes when I'm done, and then we can talk about let's beautify after that.
Yeah.
Because the roads are horrible.
Yeah, the roads are horrible everywhere. And this downtown corridors project, I have heard figures between $16 million and $20 million. That's a lot of asphalt.
Yeah.
That's a lot of asphalt.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about cutting down all these beautiful locust trees, because the locust infestation, I have locust trees at my house. I treat them. It's not very expensive, and they're going to die in time. Then we replace them. Why are we going to cut down 500, 600, 700 trees to put in small trees and start all over again? Makes no sense.
Is it the ash borer problem?
That's what they're saying. Well, that's why they want to pull them out, because of the ash borer. But the beautiful ash tree sitting right outside the studio right now, I'm looking at, that doesn't need to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So we're just spending money just for the sake of spending money, and we're not fixing problems. I mean, one of them is, I remember when I first moved to town back in the late 90s, and it was who was the mayor? Johans was the mayor, and he turned P Street into a 2-way. Do you remember that one?
Oh, did that last maybe 2 weeks?
I think 2 weeks.
Horrible.
Yeah. And that's what they want to do again on this plan. They want to make P Street and Q Street 2 ways.
Yeah.
Why? We are slowing down traffic. That doesn't help business. That doesn't help. It's pointless.
I wonder if conceptually some of it is the thought of let's make downtown more homey and neighborhood-like because we have a larger population living downtown. The challenge with that is you have, we're working on West O Street to make that more vibrant and getting businesses out there. You get to West A Street by going up over the bridge right here on 9th Street. And, that's an important corridor to keep going. O Street, we sit here this morning, people are just waking up, and this street's busy as can be. That's not necessarily going to change. Let's take care of that problem first. It comes to wants and needs again, I think. I personally, I love the idea of a little music area. I'm a musician, so I absolutely love that. But I also think, God, we try all these things. Whatever happened to the festival area over by PBA that was supposed to become this great area for Lincoln, where we have all these music festivals and arts festivals? And didn't we build that area over for that? Remember that? You were going to go over the walkway, and that was going to be a big festival area. Do we have festivals there?
I don't know.
I can't think of the last time anything was over there. We tailgate there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, again, don't get me wrong. I like all these things. I love trees.
Yeah.
I love, the idea of these beautiful canopies over downtown, but we have problems. We have problems that we need to solve, and trees, that's not one of them. Ugly alleys, that's not one of them. Yeah, I love the idea. Let's get some beat cops down here. Let's try and solve the problem.
Yeah.
As opposed to just making a nice place for them to.
Well, you can clean up the alleys and the streets by not letting people live on them.
Exactly.
And the approach, I believe I read it somewhere. So if I'm misquoting the mayor's office or something, you can call in or text in at 402-464-5685 and we can chat about it. But the approach was, well, it's a public area. They have the right to be there. And I keep thinking to myself, what if they all move over and hung out on the public sidewalk on Sheridan Boulevard, I wonder if it'd be the same.
Yeah.
Or any other neighborhood in town. Well, I don't care what you pick the neighborhood, it'd be a little bit different, right? So it's like, why do we accept it downtown?
Right.
That's some things that I would do where I'm like, man, you can fix this alley up and make it beautiful. You can put these canopies everywhere, but if you don't solve that problem of, homelessness or in general disrespect,
Yeah.
we have a population now with disrespect a whole lot of things. I'm not sure if it's not taught anymore or what's happening, but again, it comes back to wants and needs.
Exactly.
And
And
spending.
you take a look at if we start making changes just to appease, the homeless, for example. Look at what's happening in San Francisco. Have you been to San Francisco recently? It's been about 5 years for
Yeah,
me.
my grandkids live out there.
Oh my
I'm out there
gosh.
often.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a big change. It's so it was about 5 years pre-COVID when I was out there, and we were walking to go to Pier 49 out there, and there were things. I mean, I grabbed my granddaughter and held her so she wouldn't look over and see some of the things that we saw that are acceptable because it's a public sidewalk. It was just shocking. But yeah, I don't want to go down that path.
Yeah, there's things that you see on the sidewalk in San Francisco that in Nebraska you've got to get on the internet and put your credit card in to see. It's
Yeah,
awful.
It was.
And is this the world that we want? Is this the direction that we want to go at
Yeah.
our expense, mind you? That's
Yeah.
the hard part. We're paying for it.
Yeah.
San Francisco's paying for it.
Well, I remember if you think about the beautification of the last time it was beautified down here in Lincoln, and we did all this beautiful brick on the intersections, right?
Right.
Every intersection. What has deteriorated the most on our O Street corridor? That really pretty brick area, which now they just patch with the trucks that
Right.
put repeatedly over and over it. And so I would want to delve more into the plan of finding out, when they talk about O Street and the actual street, what their plan is for that. I love bike riding. What I love most about it is that you can pick up bike riding after 25 years and still be able to ride a bike. I mentioned that because I haven't ridden a bike for 25 years, but I have a lot of friends who bike. I love all the trails that we have in Lincoln. I think it's a real positive. When I have clients that come in from out of town, that's a huge plus for them with Lincoln. But the bigger negative is that then we drive through Lincoln.
Yeah.
I get that this is the first corridor there are a lot of people seeing when they get off an airplane and come into Lincoln. It's the downtown area. But when they go out into the city, we have roads that are so embarrassing. I actually have clients that are like, wow, this is worse than I was in a side road in Jamaica. I mean,
oh yeah.
it's
Yeah,
sad.
I know.
I am wondering where our wheel taxes go.
That's
that money
something we
go?
should probably dig that up and look. I know it was meant for roads
Yeah.
specifically. Is it actually going there? And here's the thing with government is you bring some money in and this money is earmarked for X. Okay, that's fine. Then the money that we were going to shift into X, we will take and put somewhere else. And now the wheel tax will go to roads, but the money that we were going to shift into roads, we can put on putting in some trees. It just doesn't work. We can't. This is again, we're going and we're getting off on a tangent here, but we're talking about shifting money, shifting taxes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know we've got a break coming up here, so I'm going to tease just a little bit. I've got a big announcement, actually two, for LIBA, which is going to be really exciting. So, but you got to listen to these advertisements to find out what we have coming up here.
Sounds
You're
good.
listening to 93.7 The Ticket and the LIBA Business Hour.
Hey, it's your girl Jordan from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. It's official. Wedding season is here, and we know that every detail counts. From bridal party gifts to the finishing touches for the bride and groom, discover our exclusive selection of watches and fine jewelry. Did you know we even offer in-house engraving? Celebrate your special day with a personal touch and a timeless gift they'll cherish forever. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Hey Nebraska! Registration is officially closed for the 40th annual Cornhusker State Games, taking place July 11th through the 21st in Lincoln, Omaha, and other Nebraska communities. The Cornhusker State Games will feature 70 sports for athletes of all ages and abilities. If you didn't sign up but want to follow along for results or watch the action yourself, go to CornhuskerStateGames.com. Thanks to our partners, Nebraska Orthopedic Center, Pepsi Cola, Nebraska Medical Association, and Farmers Mutual of Nebraska.
Oh, old school with DP and J.
It's California money, and it's a different kind of money. Hollywood money just is spent differently because it's turned over and created so in full. And oh, by the way, it's the right kind of money when it comes to, because we're in the era now of name, image, and likeness.
Mm-hmm.
And the California schools have that better than everybody else.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Bagels and Joe is the perfect place for breakfast or lunch in July. Try any of their delicious breakfast burritos or sandwiches for a great summer breakfast with the family. And don't forget, 10% of all Karma Latte sales go to the Pediatric Cancer Action Network. 4 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment's sponsored by Ascend Aesthetics.
And we're back. Okay, so give you a little tease going into the break. So we have 2 big events that are coming up. Right now, we have the LIBA PAC, which is the political action. It's separate from LIBA, but part of LIBA. This is where LIBA members can donate money to political candidates. Instead of donating directly, they can donate to the PAC, and the PAC will make sure they go out. They make sure that all these politicians who are running for city council, county board, and so forth are business friendly, because that's what we're about. We're not about Republican, Democrat. We're about, are you going to be good for the business community? So they are doing a fundraiser, and it is going to be at the Capitol Cigar Lounge, which is 5505 South 16th Street on Wednesday, August 7th. Now, that's coming up quick. This is going to be a very small gathering. Tickets are $1,000, but we are bringing in Justin Sloan. So if you're a bourbon guy, you know who that guy is.
Everything bourbon.
Everything bourbon. He's one of the biggest bourbon guys in the country. He publishes the Bourbon Review, which is gobourbon.com, I think is the website. And he's going to bring some pretty rare, fine bourbons.
I would imagine.
And going to pair them up with some cigars. So I am very excited about that. If that's something that interests you guys, reach out, find me, call me, text me, or you can call the office there. The other one, I'm really excited about this. Have you heard about the movie Reagan?
I have not.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, I live in a sheltered closet and I don't really hear much of anything. No, I haven't. So tell me about it.
We just unlock the closet and open it up on Saturday morning for an hour and then back in solitary.
The Harry Potter room.
So the movie Reagan, which is Dennis Quaid, who actually kind of looked like Ronald Reagan. This is the story of Ronald Reagan's life. And it is coming out August 30th. But I was talking to Lisa. You know Lisa over there at the brand. Yep. Sure. She is letting us premiere it before August 30th. So August 29th, we're going to do a sneak peek preview. We're going to have some tickets available. We just talked to her yesterday. And I went in there, I was sweating buckets. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope she lets us release this thing early because this is such a perfect fit and perfect timing. The movie looks really, really good. I'm a big Ronald Reagan fan, as you can imagine.
Trailer. He had quite a life that isn't talked about a lot. You just think, there's a segment of society decided, he was a Republican president, so I just don't like him for that or whatever. But that aside, he had quite an interesting life, and he was talking about somebody that could communicate.
Yes.
And speak to anybody and make them feel comfortable. That man had that, hands down.
Well, and when you look back at his life, he wasn't always a Republican. He was very liberal on several issues, and he was a Democrat, lifelong Democrat up into like the mid 60s, I think, when he started running for governor in California. But just this will sound stupid to say take the politics out of it, but think back on history. Think of the things that he had done. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Right. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on.
Exactly.
That was crucial. That was a massive moment in history. Really excited that's going to be the 29th of August. We will get you more details. We're not quite sure what we're going to, tickets, ticket prices. Are we going to do sponsors and giveaways? We haven't decided yet. So we're working on this, but it's going to be a good one. And I will certainly be there. Pretty dang sure you're going to be there as well.
I'd love to see the movie. It sounds great.
Very cool. Well, let's get back into the special session, which is, I think, happening Thursday. Is that right? I can't remember.
23rd, right? Is that Wednesday?
Is it 23rd? Okay.
What is today? 20th?
Today's the 20th.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
So Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to start. Couple of things that are going to come out are they have a hard cap on spending, right? For property tax raises. So it's either 0% or the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And whichever one is greater, I'll let you on a little secret. The CPI is greater than 0%. Every year, our taxes are going up.
True.
On this plan, your taxes are going to go up about 2 to 4%. So let's just call it a 3% average. The only way that you can raise property taxes outside of that is a vote of the people. So if you want to raise your levy, if you're a local government, because all your property taxes are local. They are all school board, it's county, it's city, it's town, whatever it is, but it is all local. So this plan is going to, on average, cut people's property taxes 50%. Oh, I like that. So just to put it in perspective, let's say your taxes are $5,000 a year. Right off the bat, your taxes are going to be $2,500. And At 3% per year on average, it's going to take 25 years to get back up to that $5,000 range. That's great. I think that's fantastic. The hard cap says that's all you get. Here's your budget. Off you go. So where does this money go? Or where do we make up for this loss of revenue? The big portion is the state is going to fund K through 12. Now, part of me, I go, you know what? I don't like you and I got an education or part of our education without the Department of Education, without the DOE. What this plan is going to essentially take that money and it's going to push it back into the Nebraska Department of Education. They're going to set budgets. They're going to send out money. Do I like that? Not really. But here's the honest situation of where we are. Since 2013, the amount of money we used to spend on a student in 2013, 10 years ago, was $11,000 a student. Now it's north of $16,000 a student. So our costs are going up, 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 up. And our test scores, English in 2013, 71% efficiency is now down to 50. Math, 46% efficiency, down to 29. Reading was 48, now it's 36. Science is 41, now down to 30. The list goes on and on and on. What we're doing is not working. You're getting more money. I don't know where you're putting the money, but it sure as heck isn't in science and English because it's not working. So at some point, it's time for mom and dad to come in and go, plan's not working. It's time for us to take over. This isn't my ultimate dream of how things get done. But the plan that we have in place now is not working. It is failing parents. It is failing students. It is failing taxpayers. And it's failing society.
Well, I will say when I had my business for 36 years, I did notice a difference from the beginning of my business, which is 1986, until I got rid of my business in 2020. So I would tell you, here's the big change, bringing it back to business and focusing on education for business. In 1986, I had no problem with people being able to make change. Right? I mean,
yeah.
You know, I give you my bill's $19.01. I give you a $20 bill and 1 penny, and you get $1 back. Kids figured it out easy. By 2020, you give your bill's $19.01. Somebody gives an employee $20 and 1 penny, and they're like giving them the penny, giving them the penny back. Well, I don't need this. I'll give you. It says I should give you 99 cents.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's a very generalization of what happens then, and as business people or just in society in general, some of the basic. I mean, I would love an education. Why are we not teaching people how to balance a checkbook? All these little well, we don't really have checkbooks anymore, but when you go and you use your debit card, you need to know how much money do you have in there and what you can do, just not check your balance.
Right.
You need basic things like that aren't taught, which I'd love to see taught. Now, I volunteered in my kids' elementary school for 9 years, every Wednesday from 8 to 12. And what I noticed a lot of things. My view really changed on a lot of things there. And some things I noticed that I think are huge and are not going to change, whether you like them or not, is that there's a language barrier in every classroom because you have kids that are coming from Spanish-speaking families. I don't care whether they just came across the border or whatever the situation was, they end up in our classrooms. And the word segregation has become so horrible. I don't even like using that word, but I mean, a common sense approach would be, hey, let's get all these kids together in a classroom where the children that are, it's ELL as a second language, like English is their second language.
Right.
Let's get them together where they can feel comfortable with each other and then teach the English and work with them and educate them at that point. What happens, in my opinion, this is just like with my own eyes, what I saw, and everybody, please know I'm not judging teachers or anything because their job, believe me, is so incredibly difficult. But part of that difficulty is they have, 5 students who go home every day and speak only Spanish or a different language, whatever it might be at home. Then they come to school and they have to be educated in a language that they don't speak. And when they're being educated in a language they don't speak, that's tough.
Yeah.
I have a friend right now from Iraq that'll come over and visit, and we're always like, I'm like, what are you saying? He's trying to tell me somebody's name who's Roy, and it's like, Rory? I meant this guy named Rory. I'm never, so there's challenges.
Absolutely.
But anyway, what ends up happening then is teachers have to teach too, and I don't mean this disrespectful, But the easiest way to think of it is teachers have to teach to the lowest common denominator.
Absolutely.
So like I'm going to lose these 7 kids if they don't get it. And then I'm assessed by the overall production and test scores of my class.
Yeah.
So it's a really difficult situation. There's a lot of things to tackle there. So when it comes to spending, it needs to get into the classroom.
Yeah.
It does not get into the classroom. It gets into buildings. It gets into all these other things. I think the highest paid people in our public education system should be people in the classroom and not at LPSDO.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make friends saying that, but and it's a very big generalization for a huge problem. But it's sad when you look at those figures. I mean,
it is. And here's the thing that people will cringe at this, but years ago, we had a company come to us, to our marketing firm, and this was an old concept from back in the 50s and 60s, and it identified different students and how they learn, right? Some people are what they called critical thinkers, essentially math people. It was called math logic. Like for me, I'm very much a math guy. You put a math problem in front of me, bang, I got it. I don't know why. I see the answer. It just makes sense to me.
You're weird.
But you put a math problem in front of my wife, and it's like, where's the calculator? I don't, and that's fine. And some people learn in rhythms. And so I read through this book. I read through all their info. I took their test, and it was mind blowing. Cannot get this in the school system to save their life. The big nightmare was they didn't want to divide up students based on how they learn, because only the math kids are going to be in this math logic class, and only the rhythmic kids are going to be in this rhythmic class. And are you kidding me? People learn different ways. Why can't we teach them different ways? And if you have somebody who is brand new to the country and doesn't speak English, great. Welcome to the country. We love that you're here, but we're not going to put you in, some advanced algebra class, because you're only going to get frustrated. You're not going to learn a damn thing, and you're going to drag all the other students down. Why is it that as soon as somebody says that, they go, oh my God, that's a horrible thing to say. You can't take students and divide them up. No, that's ridiculous.
Well, Rutgers University is huge. Their psychology department is world renowned, and they do a lot of great research on psychology. And in the 80s and 90s in business, I mean, the big deal was, gosh, if you're not good at this segment of business, you need to get better at it. You need to be really well-rounded, because now you're an entrepreneur. I opened a flower shop. I had 4 employees. And I love the design end of it. I love plants. I know how to take care of those. I know a lot of information about that, but I knew nothing about HR. I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about bookkeeping. I knew nothing about nothing. That centrally, I had to be in charge of all of this now. Of course, for HR, I mean, they sent me out into the hallway to talk to myself all the time. But the point being, all of your business stuff was you got to get better at the things that you're not good at. Rutgers University did a study that said that does not work, and it's not a wise thing. We take people that are really good at reading and people that aren't good at reading, and we gave them the same set of information to read for 6 months and tested their comprehension. And we found that the people who were good at reading became exponentially much, much better at reading. The people that weren't only became a little bit better. So really, we need to teach to people's strengths, which is what you're talking about. In general, you need to hire to people's strengths.
Absolutely. And I've got a story on that, but I know we've got a hard break coming up here. So you are listening to the LIBA Business Hour, and on the backside, hopefully all the people in government are listening to this show right now and taking copious notes. But we will find out here. You're listening to LIBA Business Hour, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
You can get diesel anywhere, but what about atomic diesel? That comes from Stern. Atomic Diesel is your solution to all your cold weather problems. Prevent clogged fuel filters, increase your fuel economy, and save money with Atomic Diesel. Contact Roger at Stern today by calling 1-800-477-2744 to see how Atomic Diesel and the rest of their line of fuels and lubricants can keep your operation running at max capacity.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln Families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Hey guys, it's your girl Jordan from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Have an anniversary coming up? I've got you covered. Celebrate your love with the timeless elegance of jewelry. This anniversary, give the gift of sapphires, emeralds, rubies, or gold. Find the perfect piece that reflects the beauty and depth of your commitment. Whether it's your first anniversary or your 50th, surprise your loved one with a gem as beautiful and rare as she is. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by Integrated Behavioral Health Services.
And back with our final segment here on the LIBA Business Hour. So back on the topic of teaching students the way they learn. I always go back to when I was a kid, I wasn't a great reader and I hated reading out loud, right? And so then at some point the class would all get together and we'd each take a turn reading a paragraph.
Sure.
And what would I do? You go, okay, well, there's Ben, then there's Gary, and then there's Frank and Chet. Okay, so it's 7 paragraphs, and then you skip ahead, and then you read that paragraph 10 times over so I don't look like an idiot amongst my peers, which I did anyway. And what did I learn from it? I learned how to cut to whatever I needed to read to get me by for the public speaking, so to speak, and didn't hear one dang thing anybody else was reading.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Back to your point, let the readers read together, let the non-readers, okay, hey, on a scale from 1 to 10, these people are a 9 on reading, these people are a 3. Let's work hard and get the 3s to 4, but let's teach them some math.
When you're hiring for a business, and you're interviewing people, you're not going to look for a square peg that you can try to shove into a round hole. So using that analogy and putting it into the classroom, that happens all the time in a classroom. Why? It kind of has to, because the Department of Education is going to dole out money based on your test scores. That right there, that step, let's just abolish that. Let's abolish that. Now, do we need to have assessments to know where our kids are and how well they're doing? Yes. Here's my feeling, having been in classrooms, by the way, it was K through 5th grade classrooms for 9 years, and watching teachers. I was there once a week religiously, so I was always there, watching what they have to go through. If we give more leadway to teachers in their classrooms of what they can do, so they're not teaching to a test, they're not teaching to an assessment, but they are teaching and reaching them where they're at. Teachers are good at that. Overall, I mean, you're going to have some teachers that are not as good as other teachers, but in general, they chose that profession because they like kids, they like education. Let them do their thing. But we've got so much government involved in from top down that's really the problem, and I just think have a lot of these teachers have more freedom of what they can do without worry of that school's test scores going down to where they don't get government aid or whatever. So, it's a big problem. I mean,
it is.
We're not going to solve it today, but it's interesting. My perception of it, it's so different now, having been in the classroom for a while.
Yeah. And why can't we set something up, pay for performance? That's how it works in business. You come in, you put the screws to it, you're going to make more money. I always tell my employees, if you don't do more than what you're paid for, you're never going to get paid more for what you do. So if we have teachers where we are grouping kids based on here's the readers, here's the math kids, here's the whatever, and we teach them in the way that they learn, and then go, you know what? If the old math score comes from a 29 back up to a 36 where it was X amount of years ago, you're going to see a nice little bonus in your envelope at the end of the year.
Yeah. And I mean, they've discovered that teaching to people's strengths is what you have to do. That's a great thing. In business right now, it's like, listen, if you're not good at this, don't try to get better at it, because you're just probably not going to be good at that your whole life. So let's take the things you're good at and make you great.
Right.
That's good. Part of the problem with merit pay is who gets to decide that. I hear that issue all the time. Well, it's not going to work with who gets to decide that by an assessment test. How do we rate them? How do we know who gets to pay? I'm like, it's like a business. There's a principal in every school. They get to decide. If they're unfair and they're giving Jack, Julie, John, and Jennifer raises and nobody else because they're just friends with them and go out on the weekends and stuff, then let the parents know, let the PTOs go, hey, this isn't working, whatever. I think in general, principals want all their students and teachers to succeed as well. So it's like trying to turn, again, I use this all the time, but it's like trying to turn the Titanic around in Pawnee Lake and get it done in a week. It's not going to happen. Incrementally, though, changes could be made that would help. I noticed, Travis, in a writing that you did about this whole thing, at the end of it, you assessed the proposed property tax plan, and your rating was ugly.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean you totally dislike it or that it's bad. It's just that it's ugly. And the idea of that is because of the spending problem.
Yes.
And that's what we have in Lincoln and in the state of Nebraska, is really a spending problem.
We do. And if we don't get this under control, I mean, when you look at how much property tax and just on the property tax side, what the collections have been over the years. I mean, when the governor was telling us, what was it, in 1985, we crossed $1 billion, and then 15 years later, it's 2, and then 3, 4, 5. We are at a point now, last year, we raised property taxes over $300 million. That was just last year. That means
this year it'll be $1 million a day.
$1 million a day.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And the questions I have are, A, what am I getting for my $1 million a day? Or what are we getting for our $1 million a day?
Sure.
And where's that money going? I get it. There's inflation. But let me tell you something. when you were employed back in 1985, you aren't making 6 times or 10 times of whatever you were making back then. I was making $3.35 an hour. So when you look at it and go, man, you add in inflation, I get it. Things are going to get more expensive. But there is a massive problem when government can't even fix a road, and they're getting more and more because the pie is getting bigger and the cuts are getting bigger, and and what I mean is cut of the pie, not tax cuts. They're getting more money and they can't do anything with it.
Well, I'd full circle this again to what I kind of mentioned at the beginning, but it comes to needs versus wants. That is a huge issue. And then it needs to really be, approached from a common sense, filled with common sense. And, I sit on a lot of boards, and I always like when a board member will be like, we tried that before and it didn't work. I'm like, okay, well, today we're having open-ended conversation. When did you try that? We tried that 15 years ago and it didn't work. Okay, well, 15 years ago, I wasn't on X. There wasn't Facebook. I actually don't know when Facebook came about. But my point being, things changed. And I go, okay, well, what were the challenges? Well, I don't remember, but it just didn't work. Did you ever talk about, post-convention? Did you talk about what the challenges were that didn't work and possible solution? No, okay, so let's just get rid of, we tried it once before and it didn't work, and find out, solutions. I'm a very solution-based person when I approach everything. But I noticed when I was at school volunteering, man, common sense is hard to achieve there.
Yeah, it is long gone.
Yeah.
And there's just it and again, like we said, we can't solve it in an hour, even though we think we can.
Yeah.
Coming up to the end of the show here, thank you guys for listening. This is the LIBA Business Hour. I'm President and CEO of LIBA, Travis Filing, and Gary Tharnish with Home Design Real Estate.
And our awesome man, Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Good show. Coming up next, we're going to run a replay of Chancellor Brewington's show from Thursday. But until then, we will see you later.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
We have 2 boys, so we needed more space. We lived in a townhouse, so we decided to build.
Casey Bowman and her husband Joe built their first home with us. This is Bob Benish of Aspen Builders. Working with the Bowmans was fantastic.
After the first meeting, we really liked them as people.
I was really skeptical about the whole building process, more so than Joe was. But they explained everything before it happened. If there were problems or issues along the way, they called and explained everything. They just really helped ease my mind.
They were really good about giving us options as far as what fit in the budget, what didn't fit in the budget. They have a designer, Rachel.
She was amazing. She was very helpful in making sure that our house turned out good. I wouldn't change anything.